guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new. Today I am super excited to do my September wrap-up. This was the best reading month I've had seriously all year. I read 15 books in the month of September, which is just chef's kiss, and my October TBR will be uploaded after this, and apparently I'm just taking the 15 books and running with it because my October TBR is absolutely ridiculous. But carrying on, I'm gonna try to rapid fire through these so this video is not super long. So these are no particular order. I'm gonna tell you my star rating and a little bit about the book, and we're gonna move on. So first book I have on the pile, well, I guess these are kind of in order. I'm gonna go through the physical books that I own first, and then there's only 2 books that I don't own that I read this month. So first book is the first Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you live. 5 stars. Obviously this is just a comfort read. This whole series is a comfort read for me. And if you don't know what Harry Potter is about, it's basically about, I'm sure you do, but it's about a boy who gets a letter saying that he is a wizard and invited to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and just his journey through that. So that was honestly terrible. So if you haven't read this, please don't let me sway you from not reading it because of that description. I'm sure you have read or seen the movie or something. So 5 stars. Then I read Satan's Affair. As you know, if you watched my August, I'm getting my months confused because it's October right now, but I'm going over September, and then I mentioned August. I read Hunting Adeline in August, and I loved both of those books. So I went ahead and got Satan's Affair and actually did a buddy read. A lot of these are buddy reads. So this was actually a buddy read. This was a buddy read with Vanessa. This was a buddy read with a bunch of people. But this was a buddy read with Vanessa. She has yet to read the Cat and Mouse duet. But honestly, I'm glad I read this after I read the Cat and Mouse duet. I feel like a lot of people read this before they read the Cat and Mouse duet. I'm glad I read it after because this book is completely unhinged. Sibby, completely unhinged. There were some scenes in here that were extremely hard to read. Which is why I gave it a 3 star. So if you have read this and it turned you off of reading Hunting Adeline, please do not let it do that. And then if you read this and loved it, know that I know H.D. Carlton is coming out with a duet for Sibby. So this was nice to read. I really enjoyed her character. I found her very interesting in the Hunting Adeline book, so I was very curious to know her kind of villain origin story. And this definitely provided, but there were some scenes in here that I visibly cringed. Some of them were hard to read, so take that with a grain of salt. Always look up trigger warnings. Then I did The Lies I Tell at the very beginning of September, probably end of August I think, but I probably finished it in September. I honestly don't remember because this was part of my Book of the Month TBR collab with Vanessa from Read with Dr. B. But I love this book. This is one of the ones I recommended her read from her TBR. This is a really good thriller. I like it a lot. It's 5 stars. I had already read it. But if you want to know more about this book, go watch the Book of the Month TBR because I give my whole thoughts on it. And then another one from that video is Kristen Hanna's The Great Alone. Sorry, my nose is like itching. This was a 5-star read. This was my first Kristen Hanna book ever that I've ever read, and now I totally get the hype. This book was so good. This would be a amazing fall or winter book. If you have yet to read a Kristen Hanna, I highly recommend this one. So good. It's basically about a family in the 70s who the dad is going through some serious mental issues. And they end up moving to Alaska and just their journey. If you want to know more about this book, just go watch the Book of the Month video. I went on and on about this. I had already read this one, but I started out the month strong with my TBR jar I did read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I actually listened to the graphic audio and it was 10 out of 10. It was 5 stars. I love this book. I had already read it last year, the year before that, and then I just dropped this, I think it was last year, and then I just never picked up. Well, that's not true. I read halfway through Court of Mist and Fury, but then I don't know what happened. So highly recommend the graphic audio for this. I got the graphic audio for Court of Mist and Fury as well. Spoiler alert, I did not make it through, or I did not make it to A Court of Mist and Fury, but that's okay. It's on my October TBR, so 5 stars. I'm sure, again, you know what this is about, so I'm not going to go over it. But then I also read Anxious People, which is in my book of September reading my book of the month. I know I say book of the month all the time, but like I do a lot of reading vlogs, so full wrap-up of this is in my September book of the month reading vlog. I adored this book. It was 5 stars. I'm actually going to be lending it to my mom to read because it was just so wholesome and beautiful, and it was my first ever Frederick Bachman book, and I love his writing. But this is about a group of people who have nothing to do with each other but are all connected, and how they're all connected, and just it's so beautiful. I can't even explain it. It's such a good book. If you have not read this book, please go read it. Give it a chance. I know there's a TV show, so I am going to watch that now that I've read this, but I just know the book is always better, so 5 stars. I did read off my TBR jar pick Not a Happy Family by Sherry Lapina. I gave this, I can't remember if I gave it 2 stars or 1 star. Yeah, I gave this 2 star. Will not be keeping this. It just wasn't what I expected it to be. This says, Brecon Hill in upstate New York is an expensive place to live. You have to be rich to have a house there. And Fred and Sheila Merton certainly are rich, but even all their money can't protect them when a killer comes to call. The Mertons are brutally murdered the night after an Easter dinner with their 3 adult kids, who of course are devastated. Or are they? They each stand to inherit millions. They were never a happy family thanks to their vindictive father and neglectful mother, but perhaps one of the siblings is more disturbed than anyone knew. Did someone snap after that dreadful evening, or did another person appear later that night with the worst of intentions? That must be what happened. After all, if one of your family were capable of something as gruesome as this, you'd know, wouldn't you? Honestly, I forgot everything about this book. I just know that the plot twists were not twisting. Like, they weren't good. So would not recommend this. I will probably be listing this to sell or putting it in a free little library somewhere. Then I read Tom Felton's Beyond the Wand. I read and listened to this simultaneously because there are pictures in here, but he also does the narration for the audiobook, and I don't rate memoirs, so I did not give this a rating, but I will say if you're a Harry Potter fan or a Tom Felton fan or anything, I highly recommend this. It is so good. It was so fun to hear the stories behind the scenes from Harry Potter, like him filming Harry Potter, how he got the Harry Potter gig. He's hilarious, and I really enjoyed this. Then I also read The Stranger Upstairs, which I gave, I have my list in here, 3.5 stars. It was a good thriller. It was a short, fun time, but it didn't wow me, to say the least. This is also in my September Book of the Month reading vlog. If you'd like to know more of my thoughts about it and my journey reading this, go check it out. But it is gorgeous, so I am happy that I have this. Then I read Bunny by Mona Awad, and it took me a long time to figure out what to rate this, because after I finished it, I genuinely felt so dumb. I felt so dumb. So I had to talk to Vanessa, because Vanessa actually got me this book for my birthday, so thank you again. But we talked about it. She sent me some opinions and like thoughts that were written out, like some reviews on it, and after reading it, I get it. Like, it is, I could never write something like this. It's such a fever dream, but in like such a smart way. I don't even know what to say. I gave this 4 stars. I decided I'm giving it 4 stars. I kind of want to reread it now that I know the opinions. But I need to like a break from this, because this was also kind of like, ugh. So definitely look up trigger warnings. I did a buddy read actually of this with Nikki, and all their channels are always linked down below, just so you know. And I think we both were just kind of like awestruck by this book, like just kind of, I don't know if that's in a good way or a bad way, or I think it's more in a confused way. But thank you, Nikki, for reading this with me and fighting through feeling, you know, kind of silly because we didn't really understand it, or I didn't understand. Maybe you did, I don't remember, but yeah. Then I read another buddy read, Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. I read this with Vanessa. This was 5 friggin' stars. I love this book. This was also pulled from my TBR jar, so honestly I did pretty good. I think I read everything except for A Court of Mist and Fury from my September TBR, so not mad about that. I can finally give this book back to my mom, but yeah, I really liked this book. It was really, 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 really good. So if you've not read this, I do highly recommend it. I literally sat here and said I'm going to tell you what everything's about. So this book is about a painter who ends up having a surgery to essentially save her life, and then from the surgery she ends up getting face blindness, and she's trying to figure out basically how to move forward with her life. Being a painter, she's got to do a portrait painting for this competition she's in, and how she's going to do that. And it's a romance, but it's also just kind of, I think it's less romance and more contemporary kind of fiction, and it's really good. I really like Catherine Center's writing. I think I've read Catherine Center's The Bodyguard, and I've also read this one, and I think this is definitely my favorite. And then I read You Again by Kate Goldbeck, and this is not for me. The cover is beautiful. Again, my thoughts of this are in my September Book of the Month reading vlog. I'm not going to go too much into this, but it's a romance. It's a enemies to friends to lovers romance with a third act breakup and miscommunication, and I don't like third act breakups, I don't like miscommunication, and I did not like these characters. So this was a no for me. I gave this 3 stars because I don't know. It was okay, but it was not my favorite. It didn't feel right to give it 2 stars, so I gave it 3. And then I read another 5-star book, Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. This is also, again, in my September Book of the Month reading vlog. I had a lot of books in that vlog. But this book was amazing. If you are at all interested in true crime, go read this book, because Jessica Knoll hit it out of the freaking park with this one. I cannot even say how thankful I am that she put this out in the world and gave the victims a voice. I'm so sick of giving serial killers a voice. Let's give the victims a voice. So, I mean, just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Would be a great spooky season book. Yes, please read this if you have not already. It is so, so good. Then I read 2 non-physical books that I read on my Kindle. The first one I read was The Nanny. Unfortunately, I gave this 2 stars. I just feel like it could have been 100 pages shorter. And honestly, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. So it's a book about a girl who had an OnlyFans account, and she goes to nanny for this man, and he apparently was like her top client when she did OnlyFans, and he doesn't realize that until later, and she realizes it right away. And just, it sounds like it would be really good, but that's not what it was at all. I thought she was still currently doing, I don't know. I thought she was still currently doing OnlyFans. I thought there would be less cheese. It wasn't for me. So I gave that one 2 stars. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying that because a lot of people really like that book. That's fine. Just wasn't for me. And then the last book that I read in September was You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I'm like, I'm sitting here like, I know I filmed my reactions on these. How did I do that? It's literally because I did a 24-hour reading vlog. So that's why all these are like, I think I've talked about these already. But yeah, so a lot of these are in my 24-hour reading vlog actually. But I read You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I gave it 3 stars. It was cute. It was a good time. Very predictable. It's YA. But if you're looking for a very easy spooky time read, that would be a good one. And it was good. It just wasn't revolutionary. It wasn't anything crazy. So that is my September wrap up. I feel like we did pretty darn good here in September with these 15 books. I'm not even going to tell you how many books are on my October TBR because I've already filmed that video and it's coming right after this one. And I don't want to be laughed at in 2 videos. So if you just want to laugh at me in 1 video, go watch that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favorite reads of September were, if you read any of these, what your thoughts were. Also, if you have not yet read The Great Alone, or Anxious People, or Bright Young Women, turn this video off and go put them on hold at the library or something because they're so good. Okay, all right, well, I will see you guys in my next video. Please give it a thumbs up, this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you guys have an awesome weekend or whatever you're doing. I will see you in the next one.